Because we are humbled by the trust that the American people have placed in us, and we recognize that with this trust comes the responsibility to listen, and listen we will. Let's start right now by recognizing that this is not a time for celebration. It's a time to roll up our sleeves and go to work. We can celebrate when small businesses begin hiring again. We can celebrate when the spending binge here in Washington has stopped. And we can celebrate when we have a government that has earned the trust of the people that it serves. When we have a government that honors the Constitution and stands up for the values that have made America, America.
I intend to work as hard as we can to get this economy back, stop the spending, and stop mortgaging our children and grandchildren's futures. Repeal and replace Obamacare as soon as possible. And my friends, do not surrender in Afghanistan and bring our troops home in victory and with honor. The great honor of my life has been able to work for you in the Congress of the United States of America.
The American people spoke the other day, and I already spoke about how I felt about the election. Now it's time for government. It's a time to put country first. It's a time for us to come up with solutions to reduce our deficit, to be able to create jobs for the American people, to help people adjust to the cost of living increases that are taking place, and help us defend our country, whatever it takes. I believe that Congress, the Senate, and the President, and the American people have their work cut out for them. This President and the past Congress have made bad choices, bad decisions. But now it's time to correct what's wrong and to do what's right for the country. That starts with helping the economy get back on track. I think that we need to make the tax cuts permanent. We need to cut taxes on companies that hire people, reduce taxes on middle-class families, and pay for those tax cuts. Tax relief is an economic stimulus. It's worked in individual states. It's worked before on a federal level. It can work on a state level. We need to cancel the unspent stimulus funds. Finally get our house in order to cut our national deficit by curbing domestic spending, cutting government, and reforming Social Security in a way that does not break our promise to current retirees, but it does change something for the future. Currently, Social Security benefits the wealthy the most. I don't believe in class warfare on taxes. I don't believe in class warfare in general. But I don't believe that the wealthy should be entitled to a social program. Nonetheless, they pay into the social program, therefore they do deserve some of the returns. It's only fair. I believe that repealing Obamacare and replacing it with a common sense alternative will be an important part of the next Congress. I agree with the President's consumer protections. What I disagree with is the massive new spending, cuts in Medicare, higher taxes, and the new regulations that this health care plan has in it. Those regulations equal a mandate for every single person and a tax on employers. I do believe that we need common sense solutions for health care. We have to lower the cost of health care, and I do support the state children's health insurance program. But I do believe that every single proposal that this Congress and this President propose should be 100% paid for. We have a great challenge ahead of us to create jobs, to lower taxes, and to cut debt. Tax cuts create jobs. Jobs help working families make ends meet. And cutting deficits ensures our long-term economic security as a country. I believe that it's more than just tax cuts to create jobs. It means worker retraining. It means investing in the American worker. It means that we are going to have to make sure that we have a business environment that embraces creating jobs here on our soil, not sending them overseas. That means that we have to end this path to unionization that we've seen. The best way to stand up for working families in this country is to create jobs and create an environment in which jobs can be created. I'm not concerned about wealthy CEOs or those on Wall Street. I'm concerned about ordinary citizens. They're the ones who have hurt the most in this recession. The Wall Street CEOs and all those types, they got a bailout. Well, now I think it's time to bail out working families. Not by having a massive spending proposal, but by cutting taxes to create jobs and cutting taxes on families to make ends meet. This means making the 2001 and 03 tax cuts permanent. If nothing else, we need to make them permanent for working families and small business owners. We even need to make them permanent for larger businesses, so they don't ship jobs overseas. Tax cuts can promote economic growth. Spending cuts promote economic security. We need to cut government and instead grow the private sector. This is going to be a great challenge. We're going to have to work on a bipartisan basis to get this done. I hope the Democrats will join with the Republicans in getting these things done. I'm happy that the Republicans who were elected to Congress intend to cut taxes. But I also want to hear where they're going to cut spending. And they're going to have to cut spending in some areas that probably aren't popular. But I think that it has to be done. If unpopular decisions are made in the best interest of the country, then they are acceptable. However, I think although the American people may not support these proposals on Social Security, I think that they should at least understand why they're being done. Because this government has to be given back to the people. And I do believe fundamentally that Americans support reforming Social Security. They don't support necessarily privatizing Social Security for every single citizen. They certainly support a change in the system that we have now. The unpopular decisions that are going to have to be made are going to be on Afghanistan, where we're going to have to stay there and win and never surrender. We will never surrender. We need to win over there. We won in Iraq. We now need to win in Afghanistan. Some of the decisions that are made here at home are not going to be popular. I think that we have to make English the national language. I think that's something this Congress should do. That's not going to be popular with the far left of this country. When we reform Social Security, it's not going to cut spending. It's not going to be necessarily popular with the far left in this country. But sometimes doing what's unpopular is what's right. And obviously some of the unpopular decisions in the past 2 years, like healthcare and the stimulus, were not popular and were not right for the country. I think that Americans should continue to speak out against things that they disagree with, even if they're things that I support. And I think that the American people should have an effect on how Congress and the President act on policy. But some decisions are going to have to be made that are unpopular in theory, but that the outcome is something the American people want. Tough decisions are going to have to be made, and I think that we have to make them in a way that doesn't hurt the middle class, doesn't hurt our security, doesn't hurt people in this country who are working hard. And I think that Congress, I hope that the Republicans act upon what they said they would do, and I hope the Democrats have learned their ways, because the past 18 months hasn't worked very well for us, has it?